The wedding. That was mine. Howard the
the
Duck was
wedding of.
mine.
So now we're going to the comics, right?
Back to the comics.
So
I want to do a preamble. You originally want to do the entire comic era, and like we'll be.
Well,
here
I wasn't gonna cover.
We'll be here till 2028. Let's just do pick part of the comics that made an impact on you. And you said the wedding.
Yeah. Because let's face it, I don't remember every bit of the comics. I only remember certain things.
Yes.
There was, for example, sometime after this, there was Kraven the Hunter story, where Spider-Man, gets buried alive and all this. I think they're going to draw on some of that story for the Kraven movie they're doing, but they're doing it without Spider-Man, so it makes no fucking sense. I don't understand.
Get me started.
But the wedding, I actually don't know where this cover comes from. This is not one of the two covers. This is
from, I think, maybe later on, like a special, like a
reprint
of it, or a
maybe?
wedding album thing they put out, maybe.
So this was the
I couldn't
first
find the invitation.
time. Go ahead. Yeah.
I said I couldn't find the invitation you mentioned.
That's okay because I've got it in the thumbnail. Check out the thumbnail for this. I've got this.
Yeah.
So when you went to this was built up over, obviously just like the wedding of Clark and Lois. There were two. This was one. Okay, and you'll notice it's Peter Parker and Mary Jane, and in the background, all their friends. Right. You got J. Jonah Jameson and Robbie Robinson.
Right.
Aunt May. I can't see who everyone is. Yes, and there's the other cover, Spider-Man and Mary Jane, and then all the villains and the other heroes.
There's some wedding crashers. What's going on here?
Yeah.
It's I like how Wolverine
this was the
and
first time that I was exposed to the concept of multiple covers, and I got them both. And as Boomer was mentioning, at the comic book stores, they had flyers, at the counter that they handed out, talking about you. It looked like an invitation to a wedding. You are cordially invited to the wedding of Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson. And they said, which issues were the key reads for it, right? Let me tell you, I was already subscribing to the Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, the Web of Spider-Man. Really, Spider-Man's titles were the only ones that I was reading in the Marvel Universe. The only time I would buy other titles was if it was the second part of, or the first part of something I was reading in Spider-Man. I'm like, well, I need the whole story. So I'd go and I'd get an X-Men or I'd get an Avengers or whatever, just to, Yeah. This wedding was amazing, because my history with reading the comics from like the 70s on was basically the relationship of Peter Parker and Mary Jane. In my mind, I was saying, I'm looking for that really hot model, who comes to my door and says, "Face it, Tiger, you've hit the jackpot." Wouldn't you believe it actually happened? It actually happened.
Good on
She's
you.
waving at me. But yeah. So and let's face it, right? A lot of kids our age related to Peter Parker, right? You want to do great things, but you also, get picked on at school and you don't have any money and you get in trouble for being out late and,
Without having a loved one like a Mary Jane in his life, I think Parker wouldn't make it. I think she's the Rock. Let's be
absolutely not.
I think without her, it's over. Because what else does he have?
He's a very different character from Batman, right? Batman is like obsessed to the point of insanity. He could do without a relationship. He could do without anything. He's all about his mission. Peter feels the weight of his mission.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the responsibility.
Yes.
And because he's feeling all that weight, he needs to have a life outside of it. He needs to be Peter Parker.
Yeah.
He needs to, have people to care about, whether it's Aunt May, Mary Jane, whatever the case is. That's also what makes the whole Gwen Stacy story so tragic, right? When she dies and he blames himself for it. I mean, this is just, some great storytelling. He's a very, very different character in that regard. And people are invested in this relationship maybe more than any other relationship, maybe more than Clark and Lois. Maybe, I don't know for sure, but those two are up there at the top. And if you F around with those, you will incur the ire of the comic book
And
fans.
they have over and over and over again. The comic fans get very angry when you mess with this romance and knock it off. This is, yeah. But
you got a thing for redheads, Mark? Just wondering. I dig it. I understand.
That was the one where I think on the Spider-Man there was a clone of Mary Jane, and then she evaporates into water, like she turns into water and evaporates. I was watching a spoof video of it anyway.
Gotcha.
Spider-Man is a friendly, he has a whole community to fight for. He does, but I'm saying that he does feel the weight of the world. Let's face facts. He gets hit a lot in his personal life with a lot of crap. More so than I think he deserves. Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He made one mistake when he was starting out that got his uncle killed. I don't think he should have to pay for that the rest of his life. All right.
Well, it doesn't matter if he had everybody on his side. J. Jonah Jameson loved him. The Avengers loved him. Everybody thought he was the greatest superhero. He would still be beating himself up over the.
I also worry that he may turn maybe to the dark side, maybe, or
that will not happen as long as Mary Jane.
We've seen this happen with the symbiote, so yeah.
Well, yes. There's that almost made the story here, but I didn't want to get into that tonight because then I would just go off on a whole rant about those damn movies. But yeah, he once someone like Peter has somebody in his life, a partner who knows he's got this secret identity, knows he's got this duty, right? It still causes problems in their marriage, but at least she understands it, and she supports him. And that's when the stories are at their best, and then they have a number of future stories. There was a future story where he is injured. He loses a limb, so he's not able to continue being Spider-Man, but he and MJ have a daughter together. Names her after his Aunt May. So names her May, but it's she goes by the nickname Mayday, right? She becomes Spider-Girl. She inherits his powers. Let me tell you something. When Aunt May died in the comics, I was devastated. And I remember calling a buddy of mine just like in tears. Aunt May died. Aunt May? Who's Aunt May? Spider-Man. Dude, you need to get a life.
Oh.
I was upset. The death of Aunt May in the comics, oh gosh. She's on her deathbed and Peter comes to her and says, Aunt May, I can't, I gotta confess, I gotta tell you something that I've been hiding from you for all these years. I'm Spider-Man. She goes, oh, Peter, I've always known. Tell me that doesn't bring a tear to your eye, man. Come on. And I did love the fact that in the Tobey Maguire comics, they kind of alluded to that. Yeah. There's a great conversation he has with Aunt May, where she's being very oblique, talking about how you have to do what you have to do, and this and that, and people count on you and stuff. She's not directly saying, "I know you're Spider-Man," but
it's possible
the audience all kind of knows. Yeah, she kind of knows.
Oh man, though, but I remember on Superman the Animated Series, there was a death of a character on that show, and it was like a gut punch when it happened. it really
It
hits you.
needs
So
to
I get
be.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why they say there are certain characters you can kill and bring back, and there's other characters that always have to stay dead. Uncle Ben has to stay dead, right?
Yeah.
The Waynes, when they die, they need to stay dead. They don't come back. You know.
Yeah.
If you go screwing around with that, you're gonna piss off a lot of people, and you're gonna kind of ruin your own story. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right, but this
Yeah,
was a
I
big
love
event.
this
Did
too,
they have a
man.
nice wedding? They went on honeymoon. Their friends were there.
There was some interruption.
Of course there
They
was.
didn't get to go on their honeymoon initially, but then eventually, yeah.
Okay, that's nice.